Welcome to the Ideas to Life podcast, where leaders share about innovative ideas and programs. This podcast will inspire you to pursue new concepts and develop a strategy to execute them. Our host is Kymone Hinds, a ministry consultant, innovator, and leader.
Welcome to another episode of the Ideas to Life podcast. I'm your host, Kymone Hinds, episode number 33. This is our 33rd episode, and I'm so glad today to have as our guest, R.L. Chance. Chance is an author, he's a pastor, and he's a lifestyle coach. Hey, Chance, welcome to our podcast today.
Oh, man, it's great to be on the show today, Kymone. I appreciate it.
Man, this is something our listeners won't know. My technology that I used to call you was giving me some problems for the last 10, 15 minutes. So I was saying to you before we started that whatever you have to share with us must be dynamite. That's why we couldn't get connected.
All right. Well, let's light it up today.
All right, man. Hey, listen. So just for the sake of our listeners, give us a little background on yourself and your journey and what you do.
All right. Well, first of all, again, thanks again for being on the show. I love this. Just the name of it, Ideas to Life, is powerful. So I grew up in the Caribbean islands, similar like myself. I was born actually in Vincent.
Okay.
I came to the U.S. like everyone else, mainly for education.
Okay.
And I joined the military. That was my ticket to be able to afford for college and so forth. So that has been a blessing. While I was in the military, though, I experienced a powerful spiritual transformation. I grew up in the islands, of course, in a Christian home, but kind of got away from that, in my adult years, my early adult years. So I took about 3 years, man. I was on this spiritual journey, got reconnected with my spiritual values, and then I decided to transition from the military. I spent 7 years, 7 months to the T in the military. And then I got into humanitarian work, pretty much doing ministry and missions in the United States and around the world. We've traveled to a total of over 25 different countries, primarily in Southern Africa. And that experience gave me a reality of life that in order to help others, you have to be able to have resources and means to be able to do it effectively. So I did that for 7 years, and then in 2012, my wife and I, we decided to take a sabbatical, and we wanted to transition to something different because we were traveling quite a bit, man. Every summer we would be overseas. We spend most of our honeymoons, anniversaries overseas. So we decided to get into pastoral work, which this is where I'm at right now in Texas, pastoring 2 churches in South Texas. And so there, I blend entrepreneurial ventures with my writing and speaking to be able to help to do the humanitarian work that God put on my heart.
Okay. So, Chance, one of the things you just said, and by the way, shout out to all islanders listening to this. I'm from Trinidad, and you're from St. Vincent. But one of the things you said on here is you recognize in order to do humanitarian work, in order to do mission work, in order to do ministry of any kind, you needed resources. And that's something that we don't talk about a lot because some of the people listening to this are entrepreneurs, some are ministry leaders, and they see that crunch that, man, we do need finances and resources in order to make a difference. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, yeah, it's actually a taboo. And by the way, my granddad is from Trinidad, so I think we got some connection.
Come on now.
Yeah. So it really is a taboo. It's a challenge. For example, like I said, I was with a humanitarian organization actually at Oakwood, and all the resources came through primarily donations. And then once I got on my own, I realized, it's one thing for the organization to have resources. But those, again, how did they get those? That is through donation, which in the business world, we say that's one stream of income. Then when I wanted to continue to go to Africa to do work, man, I realized, I'm like, man, it's a challenge. And not everybody is as giving. So I'm like, what else can we do? So then God just reminded me of, hey, you know what? I've given you gifts. I've given you talents. Why don't you leverage those gifts and talents to be able to produce extra sources of income that way you are blessing people on multiple levels. So, for example, people, let's say you have an idea to create a book, right? I give a book because I've written and published 7 books now. So with my books, I can create a revenue. People get the opportunity to read it and be blessed to be able to do something, impact their lives. And so when they give me that resources, I can now in turn share that with others, do missions, ministry, whatever you call it. And so now you see at least there's a 3-4 blessing right there. So I think this is where we are heading. This is a paradigm shift that is taking place, where not only I think that people who are in missions and ministry, they're suffering and they're leaving money on the table if they rely only on donations. Because let's face reality. When people are crunched financially, the first thing they start doing is giving. And so we only rely upon giving as a source of sustaining our mission or message or cause, then we are actually going to be suffering or struggling a bit. But if we get into entrepreneurial ventures, which there's nothing wrong with that, because it's the same thing. I see it as the same thing as blessing people. So if we are able to bless people and create products and services, then we can be able to generate sometimes way more money than we will actually raise through just simply donations.
Wow, Chance, you said some really heavy stuff there that I'm hoping that people who are in ministry will listen to, that donations is just one stream of income, but you've talked about creating multiple streams of income, and one of the ways to do that is to leverage gifts and talents. That's an interesting concept that I know I want us to dig into a little bit more in this interview.
Right on. And so let me give you an example, right? I just published a new book, which, again, that kind of gives people a framework on how to get that done. So this is called Monetize Your Skills. My latest book is called Monetize Your Skills. I released it in March. It became a #1 Amazon bestseller. But the subtitle is this: How to Leverage Your Education, Your Expertise, and Experiences into a 6-figure income. And the reason for that is so you can make a lasting impact, fund your dream, or sustain your mission, your message, and your cause. So that's the big why behind it. But again, it's monetizing your skills. And those skills, we can find them in the form of those 3 E's: education, expertise, and experiences.
Education, expertise, experiences. Man, I think you had me at 6-figure income. Once you said that, you had my attention.
Yeah, and I'll share with you the framework, kind of how that works before the show is over.
Okay, sure. So and we'll get into your book writing journey as well, but you've built a business based on sharing strategic secrets for success. In fact, I think that's the title of your website. What made you realize that you had something worth sharing with others? Because I think sometimes people, we hesitate, we hold back, we don't think we have something worth sharing. What made you realize, man, I got something worth sharing here?
Well, these are some of the things, especially for those who are, in ministry again and ministry leaders. We preach a lot. The thing is, God has given us talents, right? We know the power of the talent. So we all have something. So even if it's one, so we all have something to share, and everything that God has given us can be leveraged to maximum capacity. So in other words, let's just say something that we might consider irrelevant. For example, you love dogs, right? Or you know a lot about feeding dogs or training dogs, right? Now that may seem insignificant to people, but they're experts on how to actually get your dogs to obey, to be obedient. And there's a website called ClickBank where you go on there, you can find products where people are making millions, actually, selling ebooks and different things like that, videos and so forth, teaching others how to make their dogs or pets obey. So it's just having a system or a process to be able to do all of that. So none of us should discount what we have or what we've been given. And if we do, we are belittling ourselves. Know that whatever you have in the form of an education, expertise, experience. So experience also is another thing that can help you. So you may not feel like you're an expert, but do you have an experience? So for example, my first book is my spiritual journey, which is an experience. So I wrote about how did I go through this spiritual transformation and how I can now empower others, right? So that is something you can tap into. Torres Montgomery, he's someone that actually you had on your show maybe last year or so. He wrote a book called Set on Fire, which is based on his experience.
That's right, his life.
So that experience, he created a product which now inspires others. And even from that product, now he's leveraging it into other things. And so he can be able to create extra sources or streams of income.
That's good. That's good. You give us that website again. You just mentioned, I think it was ClickBank. I want to make sure my listeners hear that website. You shared.
Yeah. ClickBank.com, like CLICK, bank.com. You can go on there and find products in almost any single category on almost any topic.
Yeah. It's interesting. I have someone who was following one of my blogs, and I was sharing about being creative. And they were saying, I don't know what my gift is. I don't know what my area is. And just I'm not meaning to put anyone out there. I just shared with them, man, I realized this person liked fashion, and this person dressed well and was always into fashion. And I thought to myself, and you could help me with this, that there is a business potential in that for them to help others who may not be as good at outfitting themselves, even for just casual dress or for businesses. Talk a little bit about that for people who don't see what their gift is.
Okay, well, we'll ask several questions, and in my book, I go through how you can identify some of your gifts and talents. But for example, let's just take this individual fashion, right? Which to me, that's very big right there. So in other words, here's some basic. These are just basic things. Like I said, the book goes into, the assessment test tools, Colby, Myers-Briggs, all of these different type of tests that people can take, Career Direct, Strength Finders 2.0, different things like these are but that's technical. Here's what I will ask people. What tickles your heart? Like, what are you passionate about? Like, what do you love to do, man, that you lose time on it? You lose track of time. Like, that's an idea of what tickles your heart. What moves you emotionally. Like, for me, the reason I do humanitarian work overseas is because, man, I grew up in poverty in the Caribbean, you know what I'm saying? But I still did not fully understand poverty until the first trip in 2007 when I went to Zimbabwe, Africa. Man, my whole world view and even my view of money changed, because in the military, I have this warped views, was driving all the nice, expensive cars and doing all these things. It was very shallow. But once I went over there and I got a glimpse of exactly what poverty looks like on a real level, I realize now how I can now take money and make it into something that will be productive, not only for myself, but for others, right? So that is what stirs me, and that's part of my big why. My why is I want to be able to have tools and resources to be a blessing to humanity. That's what stirs me up. So an individual have to go through and write down, even in their journal, what do you love? Another one is the flip side of that is what causes you pain. So, for example, people who have gone through divorce, they are the best people actually to write about divorce, not the one who never went through. Now, that's but the reality is I'd rather a drug addict who have overcome drugs tell me about how to overcome drugs than simply the textbook reality, right? Because more people can relate to that. So what causes you pain is a clue. For example, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, right? MAD. That organization was formed because some mothers lost their sons or daughters to a drunk driver. So they created that organization. Many people who are doctors got into their field because, for example, someone might say, I lost my relative to cancer. So their goal and desire became in life that I'm going to be a doctor so I can fight against cancer. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with those, if you write those down, you can get an idea of what God has put in your heart that can become part of your purpose or mission in life.
Yeah. We're talking with R.L. Chance, author, lifestyle coach, pastor. And man, you're just sharing some bombs here and saying, in order to find out what your gifts and what you're designed to do, you ask the question, what do you love? What tickles your heart? And what causes you pain? And in the intersection of those two, I'm hearing that's where your sweet spot is.
Those are some ways you can find your sweet spot. For those who are more technical, like I said, they can go check out stuff like Myers-Briggs and Strength Finders, Career Direct, and these kind of programs.
Right, and definitely we're going to make sure they get your book, and we're going to give that reference at the end. Now, talk a little bit about your business. I want our listeners to get an appreciation for what you do in your business.
Okay, so my overall business, like you said, is called Strategic Secrets, right? Which I share spiritual principles for success in life, business, and ministry. Those are three things. So I blog about those things, I write about those things, and I produce programs about those three aspects. So anything that has to do with life, motivation, inspiration, success, business, again, how to really take your gifts and talents and create a whole entire business system around it. And then, of course, ministry. I'm in ministry. I love missions. I love anything that has to do with outreach and helping people. So those are the three things. Now, how I do that is, let's just say, let's take the guy who has the idea with fashion or who's into fashion, right? Mm-hmm. So someone like that who comes to me, I will go through that exercise. I will go through how can we take what you know, what you are good at, what you're educated in, or what your experience has been, and let's create an entire business process or system in that. So this is what we'll do. So, for example, my man with the fashion idea, I would say, okay, tell me everything you know about fashion, and then break it down. What are the essentials that people have to know? Because you will know a lot, but everybody don't need to know everything. So you can create multiple products. So I would first say, let's create a book that is covering fashion. So, for example, you can say the 7 things every man needs to know about fashion, or it can be a woman or whatever the case is, because that helps you with targeting. So he creates that book, 7 ways or 7 things that every man needs to know about fashion. Now, here's what we do. We take that book. That's his core business. That's his loss leader, as it were, his lead generator. So that brings people in. Then now he can create an online course with the same thing. What every individual or every successful person, like you can go off in different tangents, like how you have, for example, the prayer of Jabez for teens, prayer of Jabez for moms. That's kind of the way. It's just you're flipping your resource. So you take the one thing and create multiple stuff out of it. So now he has an online course, right, by the same title. Then now people want more of that. So, for example, someone like me, someone will love to read it, but then I'm not going to go through, especially if it's a big book, might not want to go through everything. So for those who are audiovisual, now I can go into the online course. That's getting a little closer. But then let's just say you are an executive. I need now personal coaching because what I have to look like is very important. My money is tied to that, right? I got to look professional. So I need someone to coach me. So now he can offer coaching or consulting services to his high-end customers and now charge premium products and premium prices, right? And charge premium prices. And then now, so you see now he has 3 things going. How about now, as he grows, he adds something new to it now. He can add seminars or speaking events or workshops, right? He can add those where people can now come and get more of him. So they have a 3-day workshop, and each one now is more, the price goes up. So let's say the book is, let's say $10, round numbers, right? $10. Online course could be $100 to $500, right? And now the coaching and consulting can be anywhere from $1,000 all the way to $5,000 or $10,000, depending on who he's targeting. Then the seminar, the workshop now can be the same, from $1,000 to $3,000. So you see how we just went from a book being the main thing, which is, again, you can even give that out for free like I do. I use my book as a business card these days. So the next thing is now you register people. So let's just say if he had the book, he sell 1,000 of those. Yeah, you can make $10,000 if it's $10. But if you have the course and the course is, let's say, $500, then you see you need less people. Right? Because if you just sell 100 of those, bam. Then now he has the coaching. If you have 10 people at a price point of $1,000, you just made $10,000 rather than having to sell 1,000 books. Then for your seminars, it's the same way. And for, let's say, he can just have even 2 high-end customers in a month or something who will pay $5,000 to $10,000. Now, if you got 10,000, 2 clients now becomes what? $20,000 a month. That's a bigger income. So with all of these things going on, at least 5 to 7 different processes or businesses that you can use or products, you can use all of these now, and that's how over time you can create in a year, really, a six-figure business.
Wow.
All right. So let's repeat the step. First step is, I would say, especially today, take advantage of the online platform. That's the digital shift that is taking place, Kymone. Many people are leaving money on the table because they're not leveraging the online platform, right? So create a book. From that book, you create an online course. Take the same course information and you create consulting or coaching from it. And then later on, as you go, you can either speak on the same topic, or you can create a seminar or workshop. 1 day, 3 days, even a few hours. You start small, and as you go. That right there is a six-figure framework.
Wow. Man, I'm loving this. You got a system for this. But one of the things I'm hearing is, one, look at your education, expertise, experience. Figure out, what your message is, and then repurpose it and grow it and build it. That's what I'm hearing. And this sounds doable. That's how it sounds to me.
It's more than doable. And this is how I think we can help members in our congregation in a practical way. This is how we can also help those who are less, fortunate. We can help them come up as well by teaching them to use what they already have. Because honestly, in doing humanitarian work, I realize, again, the best way to help the poor is to empower them. You can't just give handouts all the time. Actually, handouts can be crippling sometimes. Let's equip and empower others by showing them their greatness and how to be able to create something out of nothing. Yeah. That's what God did, right? God creates something out of nothing. But he has given us, our nothing would be like what you say, the idea, right? But when we give life, when we breathe life into that idea, it becomes something. So I like what you have too, ideas to life.
Yeah.
And in this book, Monetize Your Skills, actually, I share some interviews of people, regular average Joes and Jane, my friend, who actually are having 6 and 7 figure businesses doing the same principle, right? So let me give you one, right? Dr. Clarice Fluid, right? She actually is now a motivational speaker, but she was in ministry for a while, helps plant many churches and different things like that. But then she got into the world of speaking. She does online podcasts and different things like that. She does webinars, and she charges for those webinars, right? But she's a 7-figure earner right now. Josh Burrow reinvented himself by creating a sub-niche of the CPA, right? He's a CPA. Actually, he is the personal CPA of John Lee Dumas. That's how I got in touch with John Lee Dumas, because I interviewed his CPA. Right. But notice, he carved out a unique niche by serving online internet entrepreneurs. Rather than just saying, I'm going to serve everybody, he carved out a niche by these online entrepreneurs making 6-7 figures. They need a CPA personal. So that's what he does. Then Sue Oyuela is so powerful because she actually uses Airbnb model where she's renting out her home and she's making over $200,000 a year on Airbnb. So how is she able to scale now? Now she has turned that expertise and that knowledge that she has of doing this Airbnb thing, now she has created an online course that is over $1,000. You see what I'm saying?
Scale, yeah, I love that. That's a principle. That's scaling principle.
That's how she's doing it. So regular actors, Joes and Janes, are doing these type of stuff. There's another lady who I actually had to do the foreword in my book. She's a nurse, right? Her name is Rosalie. She is a nurse. And she wanted to be able to be home with her baby because, these ladies are saying, man, it's tough when they have a newborn babe and, they hear your baby crying and you guys go hustle and grind in the workplace. So she says, okay, I got to do something different. So her husband turned her on to reading. And so when she read, she realized that there's another world out there. So she turned to the internet. This sister, she has an online store, man. And 2 months she wasn't making anything, but she took another course. You see the power of taking these online courses? She took a course on how to generate traffic on Instagram. Kymone, check this out. Instagram. In 42 days, she made upwards of $31,000.
Wow.
From just learning that. So, but somebody created that course on how to generate traffic on Instagram. That was based on their knowledge, their expertise. Their experience doing that. So that's the kind of stuff that we're trying to help people to realize that you already got what you need, even if you don't make 6 figures. So can you make some extra money to pay for the gas? can you make some extra money to be able to, pay down your credit card bills or a student loan?
Go on vacation. Go on vacation.
Go on vacation.
Yeah.
Pay on vacation. I mean, that's actually one of the ways I look at it. Sometimes I'm like, hey, man, I need to take my wife, on this program. We just celebrated our anniversary yesterday. So these are the things I do. I said, well, I have this book. I have this course. What can I sell today?
Yeah.
And so it's like, bam, I say, okay, I have a course for $500. If I need 2,500, I just need to be able to sell five of them. And bam,
Yeah.
And now you have something rather than simply begging and messing with people because they don't want to give to you. That's another problem why I think we need to, ministry leaders sometimes, they be bugging, man. People are broke. People have issues, and you keep coming. I need money. No, give me something so I can give you some money.
Yeah. No, you're saying something. And, for those who are ministry leaders, what I'm hearing that's a biblical, what I'm hearing what you're saying that I can relate back to the Bible is that story where Elijah shows up at the house of this widow and says, what do you have in your house? And takes the jars and they create this stream of income by the oil and being reproduced and selling it. And so that was a business that she started.
That's right. And here's the interesting thing. She didn't thought that what she had was valuable either, just like most of us. We don't think what we have is valuable.
Yeah.
He said, I didn't ask you that. I just said, what do you have in your hand that I can use?
Yes,
Give me something.
Yeah.
And so that's all we got is the idea. Say, hey, God, I ain't got much, but you know what? I got this idea.
Yeah.
Help me to do with it. Hey, and just especially, that's why I like the digital world, because it's less overhead. Like right now, you can create a book, put it up on Amazon. I have a buddy who was doing stuff on marriage the other day, and I said, listen, man, you have a good blog and everything, but what will set you apart is by publishing a book. I don't care how many pages it has. So I gave him this challenge, and he was able to create, a little ebook, and he put it up on Amazon. Mm-hmm. But I mean, how much did that take? That doesn't take no time. Actually, you can use Amazon platform for free. Mm-hmm. And it serves as advertisement as well, because once you get your name out there. And another reason why I honestly recommend books, I believe every ministry leader, every professional, doctor, lawyer, whoever you are, every last one of you need to have a book. If you don't have a book, you are also leaving money on your table. Today, the book is the fastest thing to set you up as a celebrity, as an expert. We're not using that as a prideful thing. What I'm saying is that if you want your name to be out there, for example, this guy who's doing stuff on marriage, if he introduced himself, well, my name is so-and-so, and I have a master's degree in marriage and family therapy or whatever. Now, that sounds good, too. Yeah. But what sets you apart, where if now you say, my name is so-and-so, and I wrote the book on this thing on marriage. Now, you're already an expert.
Yeah,
like today, author is the credibility thing that people are looking at. And even a little higher than that is you are a best-selling author, which is easy to achieve on Amazon.
Yeah, you don't run away from that. I want you to tell me how you achieve that status. Because listen, that's a great title, best-selling author.
Yeah, and again, it's all about knowledge, right? But somebody has knowledge about that. So here's the thing. I told you, I published 7 books. My first 3 books didn't become #1 bestsellers, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they didn't become #1 because I didn't know. Actually, it took me 5 years to write my first book. But I've written a book now in 1 hour and published a book very quickly. So I can get them done fast now because of what I know. Mm-hmm. So the thing is, my first 3 books didn't make it, but here's the thing. They still generate some little income, but at least they were published. But I took a course as well. That is $2,000. And I learned how to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. You follow me? How to be able to create books fast and how to be able to achieve bestseller status. Because, again, but it's not as difficult as many people think, especially using Amazon, because Amazon will soon actually become like the New York Times, but it doesn't take as much work as being a New York Times bestseller. And once you achieve that, man, you can use that for life. Yeah. It don't be like, if my next book, so I had my other 4 books were back-to-back, all of them #1 bestsellers on Amazon. And I have a client who I did some work for, early in this year, in less than 2 months. We took her book from idea. She wrote it in 6 days. Mm-hmm. We published that book, took it to #1 bestseller, and created a product and online course out of that book. And she's a physician, right? So here's the thing. That's what I'm saying. A physician has knowledge and expertise too, right?
That's right.
But we don't want to disrupt what they're doing. But I asked the question. I said, listen, you know a whole lot, but what else can you offer your patients? So let's say you have 3,000-4,000 patients. If you create a book, a DVD, or something, or course, if you just get 300 of them paying $29 a month, that's an extra six-figure that you don't have to even interrupt your main business, because of course professionals are busy.
Yeah.
So that's what we use to be able to create that. Now we've actually in less from this year alone, right? She's already have 3 books out.
Right.
3 books, my friend.
Wow.
In just the first part of this year alone, right? So it's possible. I want you guys to believe that it's possible. Don't limit what God can do in your life. Don't limit the gifts and talents that He's given you. Even if you have one, use the one. Don't hide it.
Yeah. So, Chance, what I'm hearing you say is it's possible. There's a system. There are ways to do all of this stuff that we sometimes think is just art. There's a science to them.
Exactly, man. Exactly. And here's the thing. This is one of my basic success principles, right? And it's nothing, like bam, but it's simple. I love simplicity, right? Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. I don't look at the end results. The end results take care of themselves, right? Mm-hmm. King Solomon said, reaping is automatic. He said, if you sow, you're going to reap. So we know you're going to reap. Mm-hmm. Now, what determines how you reap is your sowing. So I tell people, know your goal. Yes, you have to have a goal, but don't be so obsessed with the goal, because a lot of people obsess about making money. A lot of people obsess about doing great things. But what they don't realize is if you have a correct system, you can create the best outcome you want. So that's what I focus on. Mm-hmm. So I use this simple equation, right? It's called IPR or IPO. Input plus process equals output or results. Mm-hmm. So the result or the output is going to take care of itself. But what determines the quality of the output or the result is what you put in and the system or process that you have. Because some people say work hard. Now, working hard is good, but if you can work systemically, strategically, you don't have to necessarily work hard. Because like I said, I've created now 5 back-to-back books. I didn't have to work hard for those because I have a better system. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm. My first books, I was working hard on those. Took me a whole long time to get the first one written. But the whole point is now I have a system that I don't have to work that hard. Yeah. So in other words, you have to have a system or a process. So that process is just like, for example, going to school and get a degree. The degree is the outcome. Mm-hmm. The process is that 4 years. And you got to input some time some work habit. You got to put that in. But the process is what the school takes you to. You got to take biology 101, biology 202, chemistry 1, and so forth, right? That's their system. Right. That's their process. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of 4 years, if you've done your work, then you're going to be able to get an undergrad degree.
Process.
Right? But don't be so obsessed with the undergrad degree. The degree will take care of itself. But what will determine how you graduate, when you graduate, and what kind of GPA you got is the input that you did. Yeah.
Man, you're saying some good stuff here. So Chance, kind of help us now. How long have you been doing your business? Just give me a timeline. How long you been in this business?
Well, I'd say off and on. I've kind of had the entrepreneurial bug for a while. When I got out of the military, of course, like I said, I did ministry, humanitarian work as pretty much getting a stipend, man. So honestly, I wasn't even making I tell people I wasn't even making $1,500 a month for 7 years. Mm. But I was on God's economic plan, right? I was debt free during that 7 years, never got sick, didn't even have health insurance. But guess what? I never got sick. We didn't even have dental insurance. But guess what? There was a dentist who said, man, we love what you guys are doing. I take care of all of your dental needs, right? So we were never really without lack. Mm. Sometimes I would even go overseas for 2 months, and my rent and everything is paid for. So I don't even understand today how in the world, in America today, I was living off of less than $1,500 a month. Mm. But here's what I tell you. There were times when I needed to do extra things, though. So what I would do, again, because I learned about online and publishing your own stuff, so when I needed a little money, I would hold a little workshop. I used to do these little seminars on the side on teaching people how to write and publish their books. I would do workshop with the CDC, Community Development Corporation, which was there actually at A&M, Alabama A&M University. Mm-hmm. So these are little things I would do. Then I learned about blogging and affiliate marketing online. That's actually what got me really serious in about 2010, maybe 2011, roughly thereabout. Again, to an online course, right? I took an online course by this guy named Brendan Burchard, and he was teaching about, using the internet to be able to exactly like what we're doing right now. And I took, just him by the word, this affiliate marketing where pretty much you're sharing ideas, you blog about a product program, and when people buy it, you get a commission. So I sold one of his courses, and I got $1,000. His course was $2,000, and I got 50%. I said, "Hold on, man, this thing really works." So from then on, I stopped dabbling. So I used to just dabble here and on, but never took it seriously. But especially now, so I would say off and on, but I would say mainly I got serious technically in about 2012, because that's when I left the ministry I was working with, because I want, like I said, my wife and I took a sabbatical, and we needed to change lanes. But then I was pretty much on my own, and I still needed to go overseas and do stuff. So I'm like, man, it ain't as easy as I thought getting money with the group.
Right.
So how in the world am I going to be? So that's where now I'm doing what I'm doing to be able to leverage and create extra income so I can do ministry and mission work.
Now, Chance, you've been doing this for a while, and you've been seeing success. What would you say is the biggest shift or biggest decision you've made along the way that has helped you to go from one level to the next?
Well, honestly, it's belief. I think most people don't believe in themselves, or because we have many hang-ups. Especially in our lane, brother, I tell you, it's very difficult for many ministry leaders, especially, because we've perverted the Bible in so many ways, man, that we create our own walls, our own prison. That we think money is evil and money is all of this kind of stuff, or you can't do mission and ministry and have money at the same time. All of these warped ideas were technically demons for me, as it were, if I can put it that way. And so believing and going back to the scriptures and realize, like, listen, if you have godly purposes and intentions, even in the book Christ Object Lesson, I think it's page 270 something thereabout. But anyhow, it lists 7 uses of money. And I'm like, hold on, man. These are all holy and righteous principles. Money in the hands of God's people is food for those who don't have none. It's clothes for the naked. It helps to expand the kingdom of God. But it takes care of yourself. It takes care of your family. It can make such a big difference. So I had to create a mental shift. Like I normally say that the great theologian Bob Marley said, we must emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. And many of us are in spiritual slavery concerning money and resources. But again, I ask the question, you tell me whether you go to church on Saturday or Sunday, whenever they say you can stop collecting that money or offering and tithes, then we can say money is not important. But look at every large ministry, 3ABN, it costs $2 million a month to run that ship. You look at any organization, they all need resources. So we need to be mature and get over that money is bad or something like that.
Yeah.
Bad people do bad things with money. Godly, just upright people will do godly and upright things with money. Money just accentuates who you are, and it is a reward for service that is rendered. So if you serve more people, God says by default you should be remunerated. Right. So don't have any shame that that you shouldn't make. Because let me tell you something. All ministry leaders out there, whether you're a pastor or whomever, if they stop paying you tomorrow, guess what happened? You ain't going to be doing the work. So don't tell me money is not important.
That's right.
Now, how are you going to take care of your family? So it's just being mature about it. So that was my biggest paradigm shift, was coming to terms and grips with that having resources is an excellent way to be able to expand the kingdom of God and impact people's lives.
Man, Chance, you are changing the paradigm, because you started off, and I want to make sure our listeners hear this. Your passion is, man, I need to do more mission and more ministry. And mission and ministry take money. And donations is just one stream of income. But there are other streams of income, and we have to leverage our expertise, our education, and our experiences in order to create those streams of income. And you found different systems and ways to do that. And man, this is revolutionary for entrepreneurs, but it's also revolutionary for ministry leaders. Kind of tell some people now how they can stay in contact with you, get in contact with you to receive some of the training and the things that you mentioned that you have.
The first and easiest way is my main blog, which is strategicsecrets.com, strategicsecrets.com. There I have a lot of blog posts and articles and different things like that. You can sign up to be on my email list, and you will be able to get stuff, any type of training in relation to business, life, and ministry. Specifically, if you really want to know how to take your education expertise and create a potential six-figure business, then I want you to go to monetizeskills.com. Monetizeskills.com. There you can order the book. I have an online course that actually goes along with this, and then I can take you on a journey. Right now, actually, I'm coaching people to 100 days. Right now, I even have one lady from total zero, nothing, where it's like we created her book and online course and everything in just 100 days. So if you go to monetizeskills.com, you take the online course, then I'll be able to help you, coach you, that in 100 days from whenever you join, you can be able to have a book, an online course, and then this framework on how to add the other things for scaling. I set the foundation in the course of creating, the steps that you need, and be able to at least have the book and the course done. From there now, it's up to you now to use the other strategies for upscaling to consulting, coaching, seminars, and so forth. So monetizeskills.com, strategicsecrets.com, or even on Amazon. Just type in my name on Amazon, Randrick Chance, and you'll be able to see all my books on Amazon.
Man, love it. I love it. Hey, man, listen, I appreciate this. Listen, after we get off of this, I got to call you because you had me messed up with this six-figure income thing that you started talking about. And, man, I want some of that. So for all of our listeners, make sure you go check out the website. Check out the show notes from this podcast where you can get the links and some highlights from this podcast. And continue to go follow Chance and sign up for his newsletter and continue to follow this Ideas to Life podcast. Chance, it has been a pleasure having you on.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. And God bless you guys. Bring your ideas to life.
Man, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Ideas to Life podcast. For resources including blogs and videos, to ask questions, or to contact Kymone, visit his website at KymoneHinds.com. That's KYMONEHINDS.com. Kymone Hinds, Ideas to Life.